$1,420 will be for metal bleachers. We would also like to provide this funding from the ARP fund.
That is an introduction. We will go with that. All right, item number 10, Mayor.
Council members, item number 10, we've talked about this previously. We've had great success in our applications for grants for sidewalk projects, and this relates to continuation of that work just west of here, 19th, 20th Street area. And what we're asking for here is to allow me to enter into agreement with ALDOT, that's where the money flows from, to move that project along.
Okay, great. And, I offer a motion to allow the mayor to enter into the agreement.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
And yes. Okay.
Council, item number 11, this is really nobody's fault. Grants sometimes take a lot of time. This relates to a grant for Jasper Lumber Company to expand the rail spur that runs kind of on the west side of their plant. The city has no money in this. This is a DECA money. That money has to flow through a governmental entity, and the city of Jasper is the conduit for this money. This bid was awarded last week to a company, STX Corporation, the amount of $811,083. I'm so pleased the city could be of service to Jasper Lumber Company, a great corporate citizen, provide many jobs in our community. And again, this is, there's no city money here, there's no risk to the city. We're simply a conduit for the money to flow from the state to this project. So I'd ask for your favorable consideration.
All right, I've heard the,
I move that we allow the mayor to enter I move we adopt the resolution to award the bid.
all right.
Second.
Second.
We have a motion in 2 seconds. All in favor?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
And yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item number 12, Brent McCarver.
Good morning, council.
Good morning.
We have on here to consider closing the portion of Walker County Lake Road just past the entrance to the Walker County Lake area all the way to Lakewood Drive. This is an area of road that there's nobody that lives there. It's just a section of road that's in disrepair and needs to be closed down.
And I'm glad you pointed that out because I did have some calls about thinking we were just closing down
Yeah.
Walker County
No.
Lake Road, but it is
it'll go-
not. We saw the map, and
Right.
it is just a section that is not utilized, and
Yes.
it's in terrible
Very bad.
state. Okay.
I'll make that motion, Jennifer, to close the road.
All right, we have a motion
No second.
and a second. All in favor?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
And yes. Item number 13.
Good morning,
Carmen.
Council.
Hi.
I'm introducing an ordinance amending the garbage ordinance concerning our landfill fee charges for the disposal of mattress, following up with what we discussed at the work session Friday.
Yes. Definitely a problem.
Yeah.
And this, yeah, is an introduction, and it is, we'll get calls. It is not for private residents.
Correct.
Yes.
Businesses. And like you said, just an introduction. at this
Just an
time.
introduction, yes. Okay, thank you. Item number 14.
Good morning again.
Yeah.
We have introduced an ordinance, and I think maybe you all got the email this morning. I don't know if you had a chance to look at the actual ordinance. This is to provide truck designation, truck routes on various streets. Basically, briefly, it will take us where we currently allow truck routing through downtown and out Old Birmingham Highway. It will take trucks for the purpose of anything other than making a delivery, loading, unloading, service, or refueling around downtown Jasper.
Yes,
And this is just an introduction.
just an introduction. Okay. You're up again, item 15.
And number 15, we did an introduction at the last meeting. This is a adoption of an ordinance annexing a parcel of land located at 14 Downer Drive. This is a Miss Reagan family. Everything about the property, as we discussed at the last meeting, is already receiving city services, so it's not going to incur anything, but it is outside the city limits. So this is to adopt the ordinance of annexation.
Okay.
It's in your district.
It
any
is,
board.
yes.
I'll-
Anytime we can get all these little islands out of there too.
And, I move we adopt the ordinance for the annexation.
We have a motion
I'll second.
and a second. All in favor?
Yes.
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 And yes.
Thank you.
Item number 16, receive comments from the mayor.
Council members, as I shared with you in our work session Friday and the mayor's comment section today, I want to roll out to you the operating results for fiscal year 2022. And where I'm at, you always hope you have a good report to give. I'm pleased with the report that we're about to share with you, and I think you will be. But 2022 has proved to be a really good year for the city, stacking on top of good years previously. And so we'll look at the numbers, and I'll share with you some comments, things that I'm particularly pleased about. And Vanny, if you will, you can see the summary of year-end 2022. Why does it take so long? Fiscal year ended at the end of September, but it takes a while for all the bills to come in, and those bills have to be paid for you to know how you're operating. So that's just wrapped up. So that's why we are coming to you in December, not the fact that somebody has been negligent in their work. That's not the case. But revenues for fiscal 2022, $33 million rounded. Let me tell you how significant that number is. Fiscal 2021, our revenues grew double digit, which is the largest growth that maybe we've had in our 140-something year history, but certainly the largest growth that we've had in Kathy Shammis's 35 tenure here with the city. This year, on top of that huge growth in 2021, we grew our revenues 5%. You know, that's kind of like winning a national championship, turning around and stacking something on top of that. That is huge. We're 2 months into fiscal 2023, and the numbers are looking good because we know the economic outlook is somewhat concerning at this point, but we'll just have to see how it. Expenditures, $20 million. What happened in fiscal 2022? We were all impacted by this runaway inflation. Gasoline prices went through the roof. We run a street department, we run a police department, we run a fire department. We use lots of patrol, lots of things, materials, whatever, went through the roof. We operated this city in fiscal 2022 with our expenses growing, and I didn't express this with a decimal because when you get into decimals, everybody has to stop and relearn decimals. So as you can see how our expenses grew 0.3%. Fiscal 2022, we operated this city with just a tad more money than we operated the city with in 2021. How does that happen? System-wide, our people have bought into the idea that we should be good stewards of the taxpayers' money. Nobody's gone lacking. Our department heads will tell you they're the best equipped they've ever been equipped in the history of the city. But case in point, there's not a week that goes by that I don't have a department head talking to me about how do we make a good decision on how we spend money. Our street department, what you'll see tonight, you're going to see an absolutely fabulous city float. And you're going to say, well, I know we spent a lot of money on that. Wrong. Billy Wade economizes, repurposes, salvages material, and I wouldn't embarrass him by asking him how much he's got in it, because you'd be shocked. Our fire department, fire chief came to see me a couple of days ago, and he needs to do a little reconfiguring the petitioning in the fire department. And you should have seen his detailed schedule, which we'll do it with our labor, and how he had priced the material to make sure that we did it in as economical a manner as we could do. You go to our police chief and his staff, spent a lot of money on transportation for our police officers, and transportation has become hard to find right now, scarcity of automobiles. But through their effort, they found a source of automobiles like our state troopers are using right now that represented a very, very good value recommendation that we bought it. I was at our senior center. They have events 2 or 3 times a year and invited where they have food for the participants there. Renita, just a great employee, and she had calculated her food needs so precisely that there was not enough food left for our workers there to have lunch. I said, Renita, never, never again. I said, if he's a, now, all of that's big. But what's bigger than all of that is the mindset that we have, that we don't have able to operate this city in 2022 with only a 0.3% growth in expenses. And I think if you looked around that transfers, one thing that's important to note, and we don't hear this as much, used to hear, well, the city of Jasper don't give anything to the school system. Wrong. Jasper High School is paid for out of tax receipts at this city. On top of that, over $2 million is given to the city school system each year as a result of the council action that predates everybody on this council and certainly predates me. So we do make a sizable contribution to our city school system. So you get down to the bottom line, and Annie, put that back up, please. For fiscal year 2022, rounded, the city operated at a $5.2 million surplus. Now, something we did in 2022 is a great expenditure, but we elected to spend about $1 million, set aside $1 million, $6.2 million surplus. You look at what happened in 2022, you look back at our operating results in 2021, where we operated with a $5.2 million surplus. In 2 years, we have grown our reserves by $10.4 million. Now, people sometimes ask, why have all that money in the bank? And I ask, why not have it in the bank? asked somebody one time talking about a bunch of money, said, you know how much money you got in the bank? And I said, well, if you had that much money, where would you put it? In the bank. But it gives us options. I learned a lot of things in my long tenure in the credit business. And I know this, if you don't have any money and you want to do something, you're at the mercy of a creditor somewhere. Is that the truth? That's a truism if there's ever been one. So what we'll see here in just a few days, we'll open bids for our new city hall. We know that we set aside $5 million for that project. We pretty much assured that the cost for that, because of runaway inflation, is going to be greater than that. But guess what? We're positioned to build that new city hall because of our reserve position. As I mentioned, the economic picture is concerning at this point, but guess what? We can weather the storm because of our strong reserve balance. Now, you look, you see it took about $34 million to run this city, and we've got close to $20 million in reserves. That tells me that you've got a half a year's operations if you didn't generate a single penny in tax revenue. So I hope you're pleased about that. It's huge to have some over 10% of your revenues work their way to the bottom line. I know Gary's been in manufacturing. To have 10% of your revenues get to the bottom line is pretty healthy, isn't it, Gary?
You always love it, but you never achieve it, right?
Yeah,
there.
right.
So now
Huge.
it's,
So that's where we're at. We're committed to our practices, being frugal, managing well. Our people have bought in. We were able to give the largest pay raise in the history of the city. That will have some bearing on our numbers, but that's okay. That's what we set out to do, and just thankful that we were able to do it. But one thing that I want to show you, I want to share with you, and wrapping up here, talking about this mindset of managing well. We have numerous cost centers across city government, fire department, public works, civic center. I won't read all of this. If I get a report, we go through our budgeting process. Every cost center has a budget. And we track how our leadership and our employees are operating in relationship to their budget. For fiscal 2022, broad spectrum, bringing everybody together, our cost centers, every department combined, operated at 92% of budget. I've always been a mindset in government, I've got something left in my budget, I've got to spend it at the end of the year. We've talked about that's not the case, you don't have to spend it. But to have citywide, we had one department that went just a tad over budget, and there was a logical explanation for that. But the average of all of our cost centers, they operated at 92% of budget. I'm pleased about that. So that's what we look like financially, and we hope that when we roll around next year that we can give an equally good report. But we are prepared for whatever comes our way in the way of an economic environment. We are prepared to do this city hall once we know those numbers and maybe other things that come our way. But again, absent having the money, we couldn't do those things. Thank you.
It's another reason too to keep an eye on some of the bills and the legislation that we were talking about that could hit the floor this time as well too. Don't want to affect that revenue. Okay, item 17, receive comments from council members. As we said before, I've already received 2 more texts. As of right now, there is a Chamber of Commerce parade that is happening.
Billy, you said dress warm. I think it's gonna be wear shorts. isn't it?
Okay, item 18, receive comments from the audience. Okay. If there are no comments, then I will take a motion to adjourn.
I'll offer the motion to adjourn.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Yes.
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 Yes. All right. Meeting adjourned.